Right. So this is another tutorial that I created so that you can see the step by steps how to create a logo from Illustrator to Blender. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all is how you arrange your object in Illustrator. So if you look on the right hand side, you can see that this is how I organize all my objects. Okay, so two of the logo is top layer and bottom layer, and then I also have the text both in a separate layer. So before I send this to Blender, I will press Command Y, okay, just to check that everything should be in path. So now I can see that both of these two texts is not in path yet. Okay, so what I will do now, so you press back Command Y, then click on the text, okay, both of the texts. So you go to the window right on the top menu. You need to create outline for these two texts. Okay, so when you go to the top type and then create outlines, so now if I press Command Y again, you can see that everything is in the path. Okay, there is no shapes, this is all path. Right, then after that we will save this as SVG. Okay, so you go to file, all right, and then you can press save as, because I already saved this file, and you should change from Illustrator to SVG. Okay, and then save the file. Right, so once we done with this, then you can launch your Blender. So when you launch the Blender, you will see the default object here is the cube. So you press X to delete this object, and then you go to file, okay, and then import and choose scalable vector graphics SVG. Okay, so find where do you save the file. I save it in my desktop, okay, in the 3D logo katwa, so katwa.svg. so import this file. So if you scroll in, you can see that the logo is very small. Okay, that's fine. Right, so now you highlight everything. Okay, so if I click on move tool on the toolbar, this is the move tool, you can see that the origin is actually at 0 0, but this is your objects. Okay, so first step is to go to object, set origin, and then origin to geometry. So now you can see that the object, the origin is attached to your object. Okay, right, so now if I so before we move everything and scale everything, it's good if we can join the components in the outline. Right, so if you click this, drag this down, you can see the whole object. So we have to find one by one. So use the hand tools if you want to move around. Okay, so click on the first layer. You will see that this is the first alphabet, which is the key. Okay, so find it. So you can see that the first curve is K, and hold your shift button on your keyboard. Okay, because we need to find out all the alphabet from K until A. Right, so this is all the alphabet. Okay, so right click and then join. So you can name this as Katwa. Okay, and then now look at the second curve. So this is actually the alphabet S. Okay, so find everything. I think this is all the curve that represent the words sportswear and shoes. Right, so this is all the alphabet. So right click again and you press join and name this as sportswear. Then after that, look at the first one, the first curve, 023. This is the first top of the logo. So I'll just name this as top. And the last one, this is the bottom. So after we join the objects, and if you press N, you'll see that your sidebar, okay, which is have the location, rotation, scale, and dimension. Right, so now you select everything, okay. You can select from the outliner. This panel we call it as outliner. You can select from, you click on the bottom and then you press shift and you can select all of it, or you can also highlight. Okay, so if I press this, okay, you can move with the Z, right, so that you can have a better view. So if I place my cursor on the red axis, I can move this to the 0, 0. Okay, just move this along the Z axis. Okay, so now the first steps after we joins everything and make your object in the 0, 0 origin, we need to extrude. Okay, so we need to extrude. So before we extrude, I want you to change the view from one perspective into 4 perspective, which is, we call it as quad view. So click on view and then area, toggle quad view. So now you can see everything in the 4 viewport. All right, so first thing, let's do some scaling. Okay, so click on scale on your toolbar, and then if you press S, so that's how you scale the object. Okay, because now I think the object is too small. Okay, press S again and then just drag. Then after that, we need to make this logo stand up. Okay, because if you look on the top perspective, this is from the top viewport, and this should not be the right view. So if I press again N, okay, the sidebar, and if we click on rotation, okay, so you can see there is a red color. So if I just bring this up, you can scroll the mouse, okay, if you want to zoom in or zoom out, or you can use this plus icon on the perspective. If you click and hold, you can see that this is how to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, right. So now we have made the logo stand up. So the next step is to add extrude, okay, to make your logo from flat 2D into 3D. So now we can drag this up and go to the, so in the data, if you go to geometry, you can see there is extrude. So now extrude, I'm selecting the bottom. Okay, let's do one by one. So if I add value in here, extrude, let's say 0.001, and if I zoom in, okay, you will see there is some depth in here. Okay, so if 0.001 is too small, you can add more, maybe 0.002. Okay, so now you are adding some depth to your logo, right? Then after that, you can also add some round. Okay, if I add some value in here, 0.01, let's say, Okay, let's see what happened. So you add some round to the objects. So you can play around with this. It's up to you. But please make sure that when you are adding the tab, you check all the parts for the logo. Okay, so now this is the first part. I will use the same value for all of these objects in my logo. Okay, see, when I add 0.01 into my small text, okay, it doesn't look fine, right? So maybe we can add another 0 in here, right? So I think it looks okay for now. Okay, so now we are done with the extrude. The next step is to add colors. Okay, add colors to your logo. Right. So to add colors, you need to go to the material. Right. So for the material, by default, this is the base color and everything is in black. So make sure that when you want to find a color, you will choose color from the color wheel. Okay, adopt color wheel. So go to the Google, right, and then I want you to type adopt color wheel. So you can go to explore. So type the words that relate with your logo. So I want to type formal and then business logo. Okay, so find the colors that suit with your logo. I think I like this one. Okay, so I want to use these two for my text, so for my logo, and this is color for the text. So I will copy this one, right, and then go back to your Blender. Right, so now I want to switch back to quad, not in quad view but only in one viewport. Okay, because I want to see what does it look like when we change the color. So now in the material, okay, this is material, and then if you click on base color, I will before I change the color, I will drag this up and then you can see the colors. So here, if I click in here, I already copy from the adopt color wheel, so I can just paste Command V and press enter. See that this is the first color, but it because all the objects now is using the same material. Okay, so the first material is for the top. You can change this if you want. Okay, you can type top, so meaning that this is color for the top logo. So if I click on new material, so this will be the second one, bottom. And if I go back to adopt color wheel, okay, I click on the second color, so click again. Oh, okay, sorry, I forgot to choose bottom. Okay, so if I choose bottom, and then this will be the second color. So if I click here, this is for the bottom. Okay, so top is the top color, the one that we have just created, the first one, and this is the bottom will be the bottom color. And then now for the text, I'll choose the dark one, copy, and then again you will add a new material and rename it as color for the text. Okay, then click in the base color and you can paste in here. Oh, sorry, again I forgot to choose the words. Okay, we should change this back to text. Alright, so this is color for the text. And I will add this. Check again. So bottom should be with the bottom color. Okay, katwa is the text. Okay, so that's how you add colors using materials. Then the next step is to add the light. So how to add the light? First we will change this back to quad view. Okay, change everything to quad view. So by default you will have the lights on top. Okay, when you click on lights in the under collection in the outliner, so this is your light and this is actually point light. So the light that I want you to choose is sun. So we need to bring this sun a little bit higher. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up. Right, so when you bring up, you can see that from another viewport. Just make sure that the direction towards your logo. Okay, so you need to play around with all the viewports. This is quad viewport, because when you move in the right viewport, you will see that on the front, okay, it doesn't point to the objects, and this is also from the from the top viewport. You can also change the angles in here. Okay, so if I just put my cursor and change some of the angle, you can see that this will reflect to the to my sunlight. Okay, right. And then the strength now is 1000. So if I click on render, okay, and then render image, so now you can see that the light is quite the strength is quite high. Okay, and this is actually is looking from the bottom. So if you go to the camera, so click on your camera. So if I move this down, just make sure that everything can be seen in your camera perspective. So now if I press N, okay, just to make sure that everything is in the camera focus. Okay, right. I think this should be fine for now. Okay, unless you want to adjust according to what you want your logo to be appear in the mobile apps. That's how you play around with the camera. Okay, you can press N. You can see the number here. So just play with the rotation, or with the location. So this is up to you, right? Okay, so right now we are done with the camera. So let's move on to the light data. Okay, so by default your light is actually point, so I want you to change your light to sun. Right, and then let's move this back to quad so that we can see everything. All right, so make sure that your light is your sunlight is pointing to the object, and it should be on the top quite far, okay, from the objects. All right, so if I go to file, render, and then render image, so you can see this is your lighting. Okay, so beside of sun, you can also add one more light. If you go to add and then light, I want you to choose area. Right, so for the area light, when you add the area light, then I want you to increase the size, maybe about 2. Okay, let's see 3. Okay, I think 3 should be enough. You can just click here and type 3. So you can see that this is your area light. So you can bring this area light a little bit up. Okay, bring this to the front, and I'll just make this a little bit slanted so that it facing to the front. So let's render again. Okay, then the next part is to add the animation. So to add the animation, you need to change from layout to animation. So on the top, okay, now we are in the layout, and you will go to animation. And then so before we start to animate this, you need to create a parent, okay, because now all the object is like in an individual layer. Okay, so right click, so put your cursor anywhere in the user perspective, and then press shift A. Then where you will see the empty, so choose plain axis. All right, so you will get one empty layer in your outliner. So this is selected, then you press shift, and then press another components here. Okay, so you need to hold command, let's see. Alright, so make sure that your empty is in light orange, and the rest of it should be in dark orange. Okay, so when I right click anywhere in here, you can choose parent and then object. Okay, so now if I bring down this, you will see that empty now is the parent, and if I press the drop down, you can see everything will be as a child, okay, under empty. Right, so now if I click empty, okay, so press T to bring out your toolbar. Okay, and if you want to see the sidebar, you can press N. So this is the view for your camera, and this is the user perspective. So click on the scale. All right, so here you will see that the first timeline is dot sheet. So at the bottom you will drag again, and you'll get the second one. And from this side, I want you to change to graph editor. Okay, right, and then after that, this is the animation will take about 3 seconds. Okay, so the first frame, which is 0, I want to start this with the scales of 0.2. Okay, just make sure that this is timeline, so that you can see the play and auto key frame is activate. Right, so this one will be 0.2, 0.2 and 0.2. Okay, and you press I, so make sure that your cursor is here, and you press I, so that you will have one keyframe. So that is frame 0. And then now you drag to frame 10. I want you to change this to 1.1, the scaling. Right, then after that, in frame 20, so change this to 1. And then in frame 40, change this to 0.95, 0.95 and 0.95. Okay, and then at frame 72, you will have this back to scale 1. So if we play this right now in the graph editor, okay, I will drop down this one, pull this up so that you can see all the scale curve. So you can press shift and then select X, Y and Z. So if you right click, you can choose easy in and out. Okay, you can see that the animation is more smooth. Right, so now I think we are ready to render your file. So before we render, you need to change some of the settings. So go to render, make sure that this is EV, okay, and then after that in the film you should choose transparent, okay. Then after that you go to output. Here the output, choose where do you want to save this file. I want to save this in my desktop, okay, in the same folder when I'm working with this 3D logo. Right, I'll save it in here and then accept. So choose your file format to FFmpeg, and then the encoding should be QuickTime, and you change the codec to QuickTime animation. Then after that, back to file format, you should change to RGBA. So once you are done with everything, then you can ready to render your animation. Right, so now once you are done with the rendering, so I want you to open After Effects, okay. Right, so when you open your After Effects, you can drag and drop the video that you just rendered. Okay, so this is the video. Right, so before we drop this to the composition, okay, you can click here, new composition, and change the value, okay, 170, and then the duration should be 3 seconds in here. Right, so this is the size of your the same resolution with your iPhone. So now I want you to drag and drop the file that you have been rendered in Blender. Click and drag and drop it inside the project panel. So from here you can drop it inside the timeline. So if I move my header, you can see that this is the logo. Okay, right, so next I want you to add sound effect. So how to add the sound effect? So I have 3 sound effects in here, so I just select everything and then drop it inside the project panel. Then after that you can drop this sound effect into the timeline. Okay, let's analyze first. So starting from here until here, okay, so maybe I can add the first sound, squish, pop. Then after that we can drop the second one. So the second one will start right after the first one is done. Okay, then somewhere here we can drop the last one. So let's play first. So if you go to edit, you can split the layer, okay, and delete the first one. We don't need this. Okay, so bring this to the front and let's analyze again. So I think that should be fine for now. So when you are done with the sound effects and everything, you can go to edit, and then so you can go to composition, add to render queue. Okay, So in the render queue, name the file. Okay, we have to save this as mp4, okay, because Figma it only allows mp4 format, right? Because the one that you render from Blender is actually MOV, so that's why we need to bring this to After Effects, add some sound effects, and then convert into mp4. Okay, so click here to save the folder location. So once we are done with this, just press render.